what are 3 things you would change in the world today?
I would change how we look at our patients from a transactional process in a dental practice into a relationship building interaction. I would change how we look at the dental practice today to make it more of a relationship building institute than just fixing teeth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Len Tau, and I want to thank you for joining me for today's episode. I also always like to thank the sponsors that allow me to come to your inbox every single Friday at 5 a.m., and they include Dental Intelligence, CallRail, and Net32, so please check them out if interested in learning more about the services they provide. I also want to remind everybody about my event, Supercharge Your Dental Practice. It is September 25th through 27th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at Pier 66, which is one of the nicest resorts that I've ever been to. The event was there last year and it blew everybody's mind of how amazing the resort was, the amenities, the customer service. You can learn more about the event, the speakers that will be at the event, the sponsors, the entertainment by going to superchargeyourdentalpractice.com, and you can use the code RAVING, R-A-V-I-N-G, to save $100 on your registration for the event. Again, it's September 25th through 27th, 2026 at Pier 66. A lot of sixes there. Today's episode is called Managing by Numbers, Not Emotion. My guest is Tala Batarseh, who is from Dentala Consulting. And we actually met at the Ortho Dentist Summit put on by OrthoBrain, which was in September in Ohio this year. And we met, and I wanted to invite her on because I thought she would bring a really different perspective to my audiences. So Tala is the visionary behind Dentala Coaching and Consulting, the leading firm in the dental industry. Tala's dedication to mentorship and coaching has helped numerous clinicians and auxiliary team members excel in their roles. Combining her theoretical expertise with a wealth of hands-on knowledge, Tala has become a driving force in propelling dental practices towards excellence, a platform where she continues to shape the future of the dental industry. So please welcome to the Raving Patients Podcast, Tala Batarseh. Tala, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm excited to spend the next 35 minutes or so with you on some of the things that you consider yourself an expert in. What I always like to do in the very beginning is I want you to kind of talk about how you help dental practices. I know you have something new that you're launching with Jennifer Turner, so if you can just touch base on that slightly as well. But really, realistically, why do dentists hire you, and what do you do for them? Let's put it that way.
Thank you for having me on this podcast. Yes, dentists call us at Dentala Consulting for several reasons. I have an amazing team that works with me, and we go into dental practices. Dentists can call us because they need to optimize, grow, have better net cash flow in their practice. We put business systems in place, train the team, get them where they need to be to run the operation. But also some dentists call us because they have a plan. For example, a dentist called us not too long ago, said, here, I want to exit in 3 years. I need to make this much money. Can we grow our practice to this number in production, collection, and get it ready? So it would be a very good practice to sell, and I can make more money on it. And there's the startups as well. A lot of dentists, when they want to start up, they think it's just putting the skeleton and the equipment in the office, but there's a lot more than that. There's the hiring, recruitment, putting the SOPs in place for your practice, from how to answer the phone all the way to the exit of the patient. We work with your team and with the dentist on creating this reality, from a vision, a wish list, into an actual system that runs and it's predictable. So we take the business of dentistry and make it a real operation that runs on known systems. Your team will be trained on every system we put in place, and it will be on autopilot at the end. The reality is, Len, that we don't create umbilical cords, I call it, with dental practices. We want to create independent thinkers within your team, where they can do what they need to do without hand-holding. So that's what we stand for. And like you mentioned earlier with Jennifer Turner, we're very excited to launch Thrive Dental Training that will have 365 days worth of challenges and solutions for your dental practice. We're done, standing on a balcony and telling people what to do. We want real stuff. We want real challenges and solutions. The cool thing about it too, that we're going to have Thrive Live, where you can join us once a month on a Zoom call, so we can tell you exactly how to implement what you learned on this platform into your office, so you can see the results.
That sounds great. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to delve a little bit deeper into the topics that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So I think the first question that I have for you would be, what do you find are the most common frustrations that we see in dental practices today?
There's two levels of the frustrations that I see. Paper rich, cash poor. I see a lot of numbers that look great on paper, but dentists are not seeing it in the bank. There's a discrepancy between what your practice management software is saying and what you have as a net cash flow in your bank account. And I see that as a big frustration point. One dentist yesterday said to me, if I calculate the time I spend running my business and doing dentistry and how much I take home, I probably make less than minimum wage. That's not what we want. I don't think this is the optimal way of running a business, and I see that a lot. And the second frustration is staffing. I see a lot of turnover. I see a lot of uncommitted teams today, and I'm noticing more and more it's lack of training and it's lack of ownership from the team members. And I see that we're expecting a lot from our team members, but we're giving them almost no training. Onboarding process does not exist. So between the managing the business financially and managing the team, that's where the frustration lands today.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I know you're very big in KPIs and KPIs,
Yes.
key performance indicators for those that don't know, but if you're in the dental space, you should really know what that is. Can you talk about the KPIs that you would consider, let's say, the top 5 KPIs that someone should know? And it's amazing to me when I talk to practices, and I do a lot of, obviously, demos, conversations on the phone with them. I do some consulting with some of the clients that I have. When I ask them questions about certain KPIs, sometimes they don't even know anything about these numbers. And I always like to say, if you run a practice, you have to know your numbers. Numbers, and these numbers should be something you just know very simply without having to look stuff up and, I don't know, I've got to look that information up. That's not an answer you want to give. So can you talk about the KPIs that you think are most important to a practice?
Absolutely. Now, the cool thing, Dr. Len, that the KPIs sometimes are known to some dentists, but they don't know how to read them. So I had a story I want to share with you. A dentist called me. He goes, okay, I think I'm doing great. I want to grow. I want to know what's happening with my practice. I know all my KPIs. So I gave him a list of the KPIs I'm looking for, and he gave me the numbers without even looking at Dentrix. He had Dentrix. So I said, okay, give me 15 minutes and you do your recall exam and come back and let's see if the numbers are correct. The numbers were off when it comes to collection, accounts receivable. They were off about $124,000. It's a big number.
In which direction?
It was so the accounts receivable report, there's a simple button that says credits, and he didn't click that. So there was about $124,000 of credits sitting on his accounts receivable that, because it was part of the report, it offset the report 100%. And gave you wrong numbers. And when we dug deeper into it, we found things that we didn't want to find that happened within his operation. So the truth of the matter, looking at KPIs is essential. You cannot navigate your business without looking at your numbers. 5 you asked for, so we'll do this. Production collection. It's amazing to produce, but it's much better to collect. If you are not collecting what you're producing, it means nothing. So there has to be the production collection, and you have to look at that. I encourage my teams to look at this on a daily basis. Why? Because you don't want to wait 30 days to figure out that there is a problem. You don't want to wait 6 months, a year to figure out there is a problem. We need to monitor this closely. 1. Second, missed reappointed. So basically reappointment rates. My patients are coming in. Are they coming back? What is my patient retention looking like? What is my percentage? We surveyed around 3,000 clinics. The rate that we're sitting at is 80%. In our practices, we encourage 90%. Why? Because I want to create that customer service experience where retention is not that hard. 9 out of 10 patients book their next appointment. Now, the next one is we have to make sure that case acceptance is measured. You're going in there and treatment planning. What's happening next? What's the process looking like? Is it enhancing your production by having a higher number of case acceptance? What's your percentage sitting at? And how you measure it? Do you have a software? All those questions matter. So production, collection, reappointment rate, case acceptance are essential to understanding where we stand in the health of our practice. The fourth one is downtime. We rarely measure downtime in dental practices, but downtime is like, imagine walking into Walmart with no products on the shelves. They think of their profit based on the square inch of that shelf. Dentistry is not different. We have time we're serving our patients with. If that time is not utilized efficiently and we're booking patients, then how are you measuring your efficiency? That's the fourth. The fifth one that I really care for, and I want to see how many exams and emergencies, specs, and new patients I see. So basically, I want to see the patients coming in and what are we doing, the new patients, and I want to see how many exams am I doing in my practice. Because you know this, if you don't do an exam for a patient and evaluate their oral health, how are you going to get treatment out? So those are KPIs that are essential, and I encourage dental practices to put all those KPIs as part of their day end. The day end doesn't need to be simplistic. It needs to be simple, but it needs to create monitors and flags for us so we can understand the health of our practice.
All right, that's a nice list of KPIs. When you talk about tabulating or getting the information, okay, because obviously the PMS provides the information, you just know how to get it out of there. Are you okay, obviously, then someone using a software that spits out that information pretty easily, such as like a dental and telepractice by numbers, an ad in any of these solutions that exist, or do you like teaching them the way to go a little bit deeper into their PMS, because a lot of data is there, you just got to find it. What is your preference there?
So it's great if we have one software that can extract all this information. But here, I challenge my teams by going back to the practice management software. Here's why. Because garbage in, garbage out. Sometimes we are not actually putting the proper data in there. And that is a huge challenge for us. So we want them to go to Dentrix, to EagleSoft, and populate those reports and understand where they're coming from. As long as they know how to do it. Because let's be real, we can change a third-party provider that helps me, but I want my team to understand the software that they're using and why it's important. Because simple things lead to those reports, as simple as scheduled versus actual production. If they're not utilizing the software properly and attaching those treatment plans to the appointments, I can't predict what my month is going to look like. Going into the software itself is essential for them to understand how to use it.
So I want to break up, I want to talk about some of those KPIs that you talked about, the 5 essential ones. And can you talk about where you like them to be? So I know it's going to differ from practice to practice, but if you're running a good business, you should have some standard numbers. Okay, they should fall into a range. Okay, and similar to like when you do a blood test and they're coming back with reports, you may find some that are maybe slightly low. You will find some normal. You'll find some slightly above. Where is that normal range for a practice? That's what I'm really looking at here. To get a good pulse on things we're looking at. So I think you said production. Okay. And then collections. So one doctor, one hygiene practice. Obviously, I know you spend a lot of time in Canada, but talk about where is a healthy number for a practice? Where do you want practice to be from? Whether it's an hourly rate, a daily goal, a weekly goal. Where do you like your numbers there, and what percentage of collections are you looking for?
Let's start with the latter. So percentage of collections, I like 95% above. Here's why. I train the teams to prepare for the day. Whether you have insurance or you don't, communication with the patient to understand their financial obligation is key to the success of my operation. Whether I have a predetermined pre-authorization that was sent to the insurance and there's a payment that the patient is committed to, there has to be that communication. So we implement what we call a chart audit for every office that we work with, and there's a list of things they need to look at for every patient that's coming in. That's how we collect. Collection is not about calling that patient and harassing them to pay. Collection is informing that patient with their financial commitment that when they come to our practice, they're ready to pay. Or if not, some of them we ask for a deposit for specific, treatments, and they're willing to do it. Education, communication, systems when it comes to collection. 95% and the 5%, I always say, has to be explained. Meaning, if it's a payment plan, if it's financial agreement, there has to be an understanding. I would love to collect 100%. Nobody wants to work for free. So that is 95% is what I'd like to see and above for collection. When it comes to how much an office should produce, you know that some dentists want to do the bread and butter dentistry, recall, hygiene, restos, and that's it. That number can change based on the skill set we have in a dental practice and based on what we offer. We have clear aligners. We were at the Ortho Brain, so there's clear aligners that changes and changes the production, forecast for that practice. But again, I'm going to talk about Canada. In Canada, I would like to see $300 an hour come out of the hygiene chair. When it comes to dentistry, a basic appointment should be between $750 to $850 for the dentist. That is basic. And we're looking at an average. And again, we have to look at the day that we have, and we have to understand how we're booking. Some practices, you look at the day, barely made anything because we're not using efficient scheduling there. And some practices, we're educated and know how to book, and you're optimizing the day properly. I am very conservative when it comes to giving those numbers, but I also am very cautious because not every dentist is going to be doing the same kind of dentistry. Some people want to do different kind of dentistry, and that will change their numbers. I look at the history and I start predicting the future based on the quality of dentistry that this provider has provided in the past 2 years and average production per patient, and that's when I start looking at the forecast.
Now, we talked about collections real quick, and you mentioned the dentist that you had asked, he knew his numbers, and you looked into the PMS and you saw that there was $124,000 incorrectly simply because the person had checked the credit box or did not show the credits, or did not show the credits in this case. So
yeah.
Generally, when someone runs a accounts receivable report, obviously you do not want much in your after 90 days because that's going to be almost impossible to collect. Very, very hard to collect 90 days and older. And some of the stuff may be delayed because of insurance, but still 90 days and older is very difficult. When they run their report, do you want them to obviously remove all the credits because it shows false information on there? If you take all the credits out, that's money you owe to people. It gives you a better understanding of what actually is owed to you.
Correct. But here's the thing. Why do I owe money to people to begin with? I shouldn't in a dental practice owe anyone anything unless I'm refunding for services that failed, which shouldn't happen anyways in a dental practice. If you're doing quality dentistry, we shouldn't be refunding. And we shouldn't be making errors in estimating the cost of a treatment. So we shouldn't have that gray zone in financial. Financial is one of the areas that we need to be solid in because it's our money as a dental business. We need to collect. But I do want them to run adjustments report, which includes the refunds, the accounts receivable, and the credits. I want to know what's going on for every line in those reports. Now, it's funny because a lot of dental practice have been talking about this since the beginning of the year. So we're running a complimentary webinar in a couple of weeks, February 4, I believe, and it's 1 hour. We're just going to talk about creating a policy and a protocol for accounts receivable so you can have a predictable system for it. How do we run it? What do we look at? And I encourage my teams to run line by line. You're right. Anything above 90 plus, it's very difficult to collect. Having said that, we don't want to get to that. So we have to go line by line and have that conversation with our patients early. And if they're coming to our practice collect, there has to be a protocol and a policy that is in place so the team knows what to do with it. A lot of the times, no one knows, and accounts receivable is being checked once every few months. And that's why we have 90 plus.
Just so you know, I know you mentioned the credits. I was a fee-for-service practice. The reason we had credits was we had a lot of people prepay for treatments, ahead of time. But also, so that was one reason why there were credits on the account. But also because we were not participating with any insurance plans, we had to estimate payments or what the patient was supposed to pay. And I would rather estimate where I owe them money versus having to chase after them. So that's why I had credits in my office, just to give you that understanding.
As long as there's an explanation, that's perfect. But my worry is when there are numbers that no one can explain and they're not making sense. That is the challenge.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. So one of the other key KPIs was case acceptance. So do you have a number on case acceptance of what percentage of you're striving for with case acceptance? And actually, I think more importantly is how do you define case acceptance? Because some people say you recommend a $20,000 treatment plan and they have to accept a $20,000 treatment plan. In my eyes, if you present them with $20,000 and they accept a portion of that treatment plan, it means, to me, that's okay case acceptance. So I'm curious how you define it and what percentages you're looking for.
So I'm going to take this back one step here. When we are looking at our day end, I want to look at how many treatments were suggested today or diagnosed and how much. So think about it. If you're doing all on fours and it's $40,000, I'm just throwing numbers out there. You have 2 all-on-4 treatment plans out there, that's $80,000, but your schedule is going to be open and wide. There's nothing in there next week. So you might have the quantity when it comes to dollars, but really the number of treatment plans I have only 2. So we really need to define how much and how many in order for us to understand case acceptance better. Because like you said, $20,000, that's great. Maybe you're treatment planning a bridge, an implant, and a flipper denture in the same treatment plan. What's case acceptance? So case acceptance, the percentage should be 85% and above. That's what we're looking for. But again, we're going to look at the kind of treatment plans. And when someone accepts a treatment, there are options because we want to give you options as a patient. Or maybe you're under an insurance and we want to send predeterminations and we want to estimate and see what the insurance covers. And that's how you're going to pick your treatment as a patient. So we're sending the implant, the bridge, and the flipper denture to the insurance. And I have 3 treatment plans. Then I need to decline 2. And after that, I can measure my case acceptance because you took something, but it's not fair for the treatment coordinator to penalize her for you picking 1 out of 3, but you can do 3 as a patient because you're taking 1. So yes, I look at it that way. We measure it and I look at it on daily basis. I want the team to look at it on daily basis, but at the end of the month, we sit down, we evaluate what we produced, when was it diagnosed, and we look at the outstanding treatment plans and we have a discussion as a team or the treatment coordinator and evaluate our case acceptance. A lot of our softwares measure case acceptance and you just have to understand how your software is measuring it so you can, evaluate that and move forward.
No, I agree with you on those specific things. Just from a timing perspective, I don't want to go too much deeper into these KPIs. I know that you mentioned downtime in the practice that you want to measure. The joke I like to say, if there's nobody in the dental chair, you're unemployed because you're not making any money. So you want to limit how much downtime you actually have where you're not treating patients. Obviously, you always want to try to have a booked chair, even to the point where I'll offer it. I was offering discounts to patients to get them to go from hygiene directly into a chair if I didn't have a patient or I had a cancellation. So I didn't mind doing that because otherwise I'm down on time and that's important for me. So I understand that as well. So just moving on, just from a matter of timing perspective here, you wanted to talk about low-hanging fruits in the dental office. So what are some low-hanging fruits that can be taken advantage of? So I'm curious your perspective on that.
When I think about low-hanging fruits in dental practice, I think of easy to convert from the paper to an actual appointment. Think about it. Basic dentistry. Fillings, night guard, anything basic in dentistry, you can call the patient, bring them in. You don't have that lengthy process if you're under an insurance and you want to send all those documents to get and follow-ups. Easy, quick. Second, when a patient comes in and they have a next appointment, that's it, a conversation to have within your practice, converting that first-time or emergency patient into a quick patient. It becomes an active patient very quickly. And those are very easy things to do, and they bring you revenue. The third one is same-day dentistry. how many times your patients come into your practice, they're right there, and you don't convert them, like you just mentioned, from hygiene chair to finish that, filling that they needed done and they didn't have time for it. They're right there for you. Why not offer convenience? I always laugh and joke and say we are dealing with a population that loves Amazon, loves Instacart, loves Uber Eats, and wants convenience. So why not offer it? We are conditioned in 2026 to want convenience, save me time. Offer that to your patients. You did great in your practice when you said, you know what, you get this done, here's what we can offer you. But why not be prepared? Your patient is right there, optimize. Use that time for your patient to serve them better by offering them the same day treatment, but also it's very easy. They're right there. So those are very simple ways to do that.
That makes sense. I know one of the other things we wanted to talk about was bringing on new team members and onboarding them. Obviously, there's always a disruption to the practice when you have to either fire someone and bring something new in, or you're creating a new opportunity for a team member to come in to help the practice. So, can you talk about your onboarding process for new team members and how to maximize the time it takes, take advantage of it to maximize the effectiveness of the employee as well, and manage expectations as well, I think is important as well in this conversation.
That's huge. That's huge. We talk about patient retention a lot, but we never talk about team retention. Team retention is as important as patient retention. Here's why. It costs us to bring new team members, like you just mentioned. It's a disruption. So onboarding is huge. People want to feel heard, understood, and valued. How is your new team members feeling that? By walking them and say, here's your desk, here are your passwords, deal with it. That's what I see for onboarding right now in dental practices. This is one of the reasons we started Thrive Dental Training, is we are seeing a lack of training when it comes to new team members. There isn't much. Your office, you might have a system in place. This is how we answer the phone, and this new team member doesn't even know how to answer the phone. Simple things matter. So we created an onboarding process for every team member. Simple. What do we value in our practice? What are the services we do? It's not only passwords and this is how you open the door, this is where your lunchroom is. No, it's a lot more than that. Having that conversation, creating that rapport with your team members, creating a thorough understanding of what's expected, giving them milestones for the week. What are you learning today? What are you learning tomorrow? And who is mentoring you? Who are you shadowing? And what are the expectations from the team members that are training this individual? So we have a list that we populated for each role in the dental practice of what to do first day, second day, third day, and we continuously do this for the first month. Onboarding is not something you do for 2 days. It's a lengthy process. This is how you keep your team, creating that confidence and making them understand what they're supposed to do. But also, we like to create check-ins. If you are the one who hired them and you know who they are and you interviewed them the first time, second time, and hired them, brought them in, do check-ins. Thorns and roses. How are you feeling? A lot of times people leave their practices because of how they feel. And sometimes all they needed is to communicate with someone. And there's nobody there. Dental practices are busy. I don't have time to go sit down and have a chat. But be intentional, because onboarding is about getting that talent and keeping it. It's not about just, bringing one after the other. It's frustrating for the team. So that there's a whole process that we have a segment in Thrive for this, but we also have the checklist as a resource that you will have there. Having a short video about here's where our door, here's where you park, here's everything about our practice. We're excited. A simple video with your phone and sending it to the candidate just to tell them who you are. It's a nice gesture. We want to be friendly. So yes, it's more detailed than just sit down and here's your computer.
Got it. So is there anything that we didn't discuss yet that you wanted to bring up before we switch over to the lightning round Q&A?
Just the last thing, office managers, most of the time are volunteered. They were never trained for it. I appreciate training. There's a lot of resources that are out there. We're happy, and I'm happy to communicate with office managers that are just, they want clarity on certain aspects of it. There's a lot of times where we get calls from office managers to join Zoom calls, boot camps, to understand how to do better in their practice. We celebrate those. Never stop learning. And it's okay not to know something, but it's not okay not to look for solutions when you have issues and challenges that you want to face you want to solve in your practice.
Got it. Well, this was great information. We'll capture your contact information when we're done with the lightning round Q&A, but we're going to segue into
I'm excited about this.
So this is a lot of fun for me. I like asking these questions. They're business-related questions, and just for reminder, these are supposed to be answered fairly quickly, so no drawn-out 2-minute answers here. So first question is, who do you look to for advice or mentorship?
I look for people in the industry that are more successful than me. Jennifer Turner is one of them. I love learning from her. And also there's Mark Gaylord. He's my husband, but he's the CEO of the Dental Advisory Board. I look I like people who can challenge me and tell me the truth, even if I don't like to hear it.
That's good. If you were to do your venture again, so if you're Dentala Consulting, what would you do differently?
That's a tough question. What I would do differently is start empowering my team earlier and hire more faster, because the demand is way bigger than I expected.
Okay. What book have you read multiple times, or what is your favorite book?
Atomic Habit.
I've got it sitting right here.
That was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, what piece of advice would you give to dental students who are going into their own practice?
It's not only about teeth, it's about business too. You get 2 hours of business education in dental school and you skip it. Doesn't matter. Start educating yourself. Running a business and being an entrepreneur is something that you can't avoid in dentistry. It's a lot more than dentistry.
Okay. Who is someone that you would love to collaborate with, and what would you love to collaborate on?
I would love to collaborate with motivational speakers and industry influencers that change the mindset of people within the industry and mobilize individuals to do better, more, because they see themselves differently. Okay.
Are you a podcast listener? And if you are, do you have a favorite business podcast?
I'm listening to Let Them right now. I love what she's doing, so I've been listening to that lately. I love listening to Tony Robbins' podcast as well, and all that. But I love reading books. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is one other book that I read more than I listen.
Okay. How do you capture and keep track of ideas? Do you keep a notebook? Do you do voice memos?
I have a notepad in my phone. I text myself, and I do have a notebook with me everywhere I go.
Okay. If you had a magic stick, what are 3 things you would change in the world today?
Magic stick. I would love to, if I want to change something in the world today, I would change, I have a long list, Len. I would change how we look at our patients from a transactional process in a dental practice into a relationship building interaction. I would change how we look at the dental practice today to make it more of a relationship building institute than just fixing teeth.
Okay. How do you define success?
Success is when you say what you want to do and do it, and always improvise and pivot and be comfortable doing it. That's success in my eyes.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Who has been your greatest inspiration?
My greatest inspiration has been my mom. She is a very strong, stubborn woman. I love that she doesn't take no for an answer in life. She knows how to find solutions. She is solution focused, not problem focused. I love that about her.
Okay, what do you think is a unique skill that you have that has helped you become successful?
I listen to my teams and I don't have band-aid solutions. I have no fluff. What I like to look is for the root and the cause of the problem. I don't fix the fruit of it. I look for the root cause and we find solutions and create convictions. That's, I think, where the success is.
All right, 2 questions left. What have you learned from the most successful person you know?
That if you don't try, you'll never know what success is. And persistence and consistency is the key to success.
That's good. And this last question I ask everybody, whether it comes up in my list or not, I just like this question.
I like your list. I want to know where it's coming from.
It's an app called Poddex. So
I'm definitely downloading that.
There's all different decks of cards too. So
awesome.
This question is business or personal, doesn't matter. It could be either subscriptions, either monthly or annual that you pay for. So what subscription could you not live without? Again, it could be business or personal.
Masterclass.
Okay. So, Tala, this was great information. Why don't you give your contact information? How can people reach out if they want to learn more about how you can help their dental practice?
Absolutely. You can always reach me on my cell phone. You can text me, preferably. I'm always with Teams, so it's hard to pick up the phone, 647-407-1336. And you can email me at tala@dentalaconsulting.ca.
dentalaconsulting.ca, and they can go check out the website as well.
Of course, and Instagram.
Yep, so just type her name and I'm sure they'll find information.
My name.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, guys, if something triggered you during this episode and you said, I need some help, Tala's available. Please reach out to her. She gave her contact information. If you think one of your colleagues can appreciate what she is consulting on, please tell them to listen to the episode or reach out to Tala directly as well. Like us, review us, share the episodes, which would be appreciative to me. Check out the sponsors, Dental Intelligence, CallRail, and Net32. I always thank them for their support. Check out my event, superchargeyourdentalpractice.com, to learn more about my event. And as always, as I end every single one of my episodes, remember, your reputation matters. Until the next one, Tala, thank you so much for joining me today. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
Sure.